Happy Monday, July 6th, 2020. I'm Keith Sebo. Hope you all had a fantastic and festive 4th of July holiday weekend. And we're back at it here on this Monday. You know, today, July 6th, has begun officially the Phase 3 reopening of businesses here in the Commonwealth from the coronavirus. And it's been a while since we talked to our brethren in the business sector of Fall River and New Bedford. So I'm pleased to be joined by Michael O'Sullivan and Rick Kidder, the co-CEOs of the One Southcoast Chamber. Gentlemen, welcome. How are you?
Good morning, Keith. How are you doing?
Good morning, Keith.
I am doing well. Let's get right into it. Mike, let me start with you. Phase 3 opens today, which means for our local businesses, themes like gyms, fitness centers, museums, which may be important for our region, reopen. But since we last spoke, Mike, how has general business been here in the Fall River area? And we'll get to New Bedford in a moment. How has it been in Fall River in terms of restaurants reopening and others since Phase 2 and now Phase 3?
Restaurants are doing well. They're, the time, the ones that are able to open are doing well. Things are going well. There's a lot of good stuff happening there. It hasn't been easy, but they're getting there, and there's a lot of good things happening. You've got the weather's been fantastic, which always helps dining. And like in the coming weeks, or about a week, we have Pier 52 is going to open in Fall River, owned by Mike and Nicole Lund, sister restaurants to the Tipsy Seagull and part of the Board and Light Marina region there. So it's there's a lot of good stuff happening with the restaurants, and they seem to be doing well. It seems like the issues really are that they're because they have less seating, they're actually full, is what we're hearing. So it's actually harder to get a reservation. Some of them are booked on Saturday nights, weeks out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I know Rick in New Bedford as well, similar situation where you've got some restaurants doing well and another one opening up soon, right?
Exactly. This has been a challenging time for some of our small restaurants who, because of the percentages that they're allowed to have within their walls, some of them have stuck to curbside and takeout, largely because that might mean they have one table, and they don't want to staff for that. So people are kind of adjusting based on the size of the restaurant and whatnot. But as Mike said, in Fall River, a new place opening up, and in New Bedford, a new place opening up. Steve Silverstein, who owns the Black Whale and is going to own the remarkable Cisco Brewery site down on the peninsula, has put up a clam bar. It is fantastic. We're going to do a ribbon cutting there. I had the opportunity to do takeout from there on Saturday evening, got my fried clam fix. But there's a lot of pent-up appetite for people to get out and about.
Pent-up appetite, no pun intended, or pun intended in terms of...
Yes.
All right, well, gentlemen, with Phase 3, I think one of the biggest things for a number of people will be the reopening of gyms and fitness centers with restrictions. Either one can answer this. How do you think that'll impact our local areas to get those people back up and running, even though a lot of people have been able to get their exercise with the nice weather outside?
Yeah, I think the opening of the gyms is a big deal. This is getting these places open, getting people back into their routines, I think is really important. I think I've heard a lot of people say, even though they can work out at home and they do work out at home, they kind of miss the camaraderie of the gym. They miss being able to go there. They miss the structure. This will give them an opportunity to have that. But also our museums are opening up as well. And so being able to actually welcome guests into a museum and have that edification going is equally important.
Yeah. And Mike, that leads me to do my next question. You talk about the museums. There's a number of, in both New Bedford, Fall River, across the One Southcoast region, there are a number of museums that'll be able to open, and that'll help with some of the tourism numbers, right, Mike?
It'll definitely help drive the tourism numbers. The Whaling Museum is a big driver of tourism in the entire South Coast. It'll also help drive. It'll help some of the educational areas as well. You know, the Children's Museum of Greater Fall River opening will be fantastic. You know, there's a lot of educational opportunities in the summer for the kids that they don't normally get other places. So it's really been it's been hurting, but it's going to be great for the kids as well. So there's, you know, those are just two examples of really good things that are going to happen with the museums opening locally.
Mm. And, you know, as we go forward, you know, Rick and I were talking before we got started that, you know, everything is looking good in Massachusetts and also nearby Rhode Island. Numbers have been stabilizing. But then we look at what's happening in the rest of the country, Arizona, Florida, Texas, California, some other states that may have reopened a little soon. Is there still some trepidation, Rick, from your members saying that, you know, we're glad we're reopening, but we still need to take that extra precaution and because we don't want to happen here in Massachusetts what may be happening in those other states?
Yeah, certainly what you've seen is the negative example of what happens when you open up too early, and it also kind of debunks the theory that hot weather or warm weather is actually going to kill this virus. So it's a good lesson for us, and I think Governor Baker and the folks at the state are watching what's going on there very carefully. They've indicated, in fact, phase 3 opening is everywhere at the moment but Boston, because Boston's not yet ready. They're going to be about a week behind. And the governor has indicated that we're not really going to hit phase 4 until there is some kind of vaccine, some kind of effective treatment that can deal with this virus. And I think he's being very wise in that process. All of us are itchy to get going. We would love to do our outdoor events. We would love to do our big events. That's a big part of what we are. But at the same time, we recognize that we've got those negative examples out there that are showing it may be too soon.
And that actually gets back to you know, you mentioned that phase 3. We're probably going to be in phase 3 for quite a long time. So this, in some respects, may be our new normal in terms of restrictions, face masks, and the like, and continuing the social distancing. And we may be in this for quite some time. So, Mike, let me ask you, in terms of what the chamber has been continuing to do for its members, is there, you know, you're still doing the workshops and the seminars, you're still outreaching. Is that something that you're going to continue to do, and probably in a remote fashion, right, for the time being?
In some level, in a remote fashion, we're going to have some big events coming up in August. State of the city with the different mayors. You know, so we've got some good things that are coming up virtually, but we've also have a lot of people who are they're ready to get together. They're ready to get together in person. So it's going to be an interesting divide. And but the largest events absolutely are going to have to be virtually for quite some time.
Yeah, it just is what it is, right?
Yeah,
Rick, we had all. Go ahead, Rick.
You know, and I think, and Mike is right. I think one of the things that we're going to see is for some time, yeah, we're going to have some of this pent up frustration. One of the workshops that we're actually doing coming up, people can sign up for that online through our website, is actually one on the mental health of employees and the mental health of folks going through this. Bank 5 has been kind enough to sponsor that one, and Cheryl Bartlett, who runs the Greater New Bedford Health Center, is going to be one of the speakers and give us kind of a sense of what the sort of relative mental health of folks is right now. People have talked about increased suicide rates. They've talked about the challenge of folks being able to adjust to this, quote, new normal. So we're trying to address that as well. So it's not just business issues. It's issues of how we can keep our employees happy and healthy.
And also, one of the items we spoke about prior to coming on, Rick, is the fact that the Senate in Washington has passed sort of an extension to the PPP program. There's still some money available,
Yep.
and it may actually help you at the chamber, because the way your nonprofit is structured, you weren't able to take advantage of the money and hopefully you may if this extension goes through, correct?
Yes, and we really want to thank Senator Rubio and Senator Cruz, who really brought this forward to include chambers. We believe it was an omission in the first place. For-profit companies were included. Not-for-profit 501c3 charitable organizations were included, but those of us who are 501c6 were not. And when they went to re-up it for funding, I think everybody and his brother wanted to add something into that funding mechanism, so they made the decision, we're just going to stick with funding what we funded before. Now they've actually, with roughly 130 billion left over in that system, are now have added chambers of commerce 501c6s into this, because we have that primary responsibility for helping our business folks, yet we've not been able to take advantage of it. So we're hopeful that it's going to pass through the House of Representatives, that's been sent over by the Senate, and that the president will sign it quickly, so that we can bring our staff back as well.
Just a couple quick updates before we wrap up. How has the membership been for the organization? You know, you had that promotion that has been ongoing. Those who have renewed will be able to delay some of their renewals. You're welcoming new members in on a free trial basis. How's that been working out?
So far, so good. We've been really working to try to make sure that we're providing value to the businesses in the community, whether they're members or not. So as you mentioned, we did the promotion, which, you know, people could defer their membership or they could get free membership through September 1st. And that's going very well. And we've gotten good play out of the fact that we're trying to work with the entire business community, not just our members. And I think as time marches on that we will do very well with that, because we've been good to the business community in general. It's been a really good thing for us. It's been a good thing for the community.
Yeah. And of course, Rick, you're also continuing your promotion of Signs of Life as some of these businesses reopen. You're helping promote them and hopefully get some business through the door, huh?
Absolutely. Obviously, phase 3 began today. So we've done some outreach to some of those companies that are opening up today, museums, fitness centers, et cetera, to send us some pictures. Reynolds DeWalt, a wonderful company in the New Bedford Industrial Park, was kind enough to sponsor our Signs of Life campaign. So at each phase, we're going to be pushing out some information on social media, celebrating that fact with pictures of the businesses that are reopening. We're all eager to go.
Absolutely, and even though we're not back to normal, it's looking a little better than it did just a few months ago. So, Rick Hitter, Michael O'Sullivan, co-CEOs of the One Southcoast Chamber. Thank you for joining us again, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.
Thanks, Keith. Take care.
And I want to thank you for joining us here at FRC Media. I'm Keith Tebow, and we'll talk again soon.